Welcome inside the Treehouse. I'm Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trenholm, and joined in the Treehouse today, in addition to you, is also our dear friend Raj Sharma. Hello, Raj.
Hello, everybody. What's happening? What's going on?
I found it interesting that aliens could have invaded overnight, Raj, and you never would have known it because you didn't take just any old antihistamine. You didn't take just a regular Benadryl. Trey, did you know that there's prescription strength antihistamines?
No. And
Yep.
What are their names?
Let me see if
That was a good show.
Yeah.
Good job, everybody.
Anything that makes you sleep like that, I would like to know more about it.
let's see if I can find the name of it real quick. I'll tell you which one it is. It's called hydroxyzine.
Okay.
That's the one I took. But I didn't take the full. I didn't take the full because if it says take 1 to 2. Anything that says take 1 to 2 is telling you like, hey, let's see how quick this messes you up. Does 1 mess you up? Or does 2?
See, with me, it just kind of depends on what the pill is.
Right.
Like if it's ibuprofen, I don't even know what the suggested dosage is. Let's just say hypothetically, it says 1 to 2. I take 4.
Yeah, you can take up to 4 ibuprofen. I mean, that's
because I remember there was one time someone had a prescription strength ibuprofen, and it was just regular ibuprofen. It's the same thing as Advil or whatever. It was just a higher dosage of it. I don't want to say it was like a
800 milligrams is usually the.
That was it. Thank you, pharmaceutical Trey. That's why I was surprised he hadn't heard of prescription strength antihistamines because Trey's dealt a lot with pharmaceuticals. I thought he would have heard about it.
Not one that'll lay you out for 6-7 hours.
Oh, it was longer. It was longer than that. I've always had that thing where I can wake up before my alarm. I've always been able to do that. Like if I know that I have to do this show, like I'll get up. Like I normally get up about 8:30 anyway, 8:30 in the morning anyway. But like when it's something like that, I'll go. Okay, it's time. I can feel my body clock. It's like, you know what? It's time to wake up. But about 2:00 in the morning, 2:00-ish, I was like, you know what? I had a little bit of an allergy thing going on. My eyes were watering, nose was running, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not sleeping. Reruns again of the greatest show ever made by Aaron Spelling, Beverly Hills 90210, is now on Prime Video. Just for the people watching.
Melrose Place would like a word.
Oh, what a terrible show!
Oh my God! Did I just wade into the middle of an Aaron Spelling throwdown?
I mean, it was kind of his like, and we'll try this one too, and it just kind of stuck with the older crowd at the time. But I feel
like we need to be careful here because on one hand, the organized show host in me wants to stay with the planned alien controversy and conversation.
Oh, yeah.
But I also know that there's content to be had with the two of you going toe to toe in saying which 90s melodrama was more impactful, Melrose Place or Beverly Hills 90210.
I mean, look at the social issues that Beverly Hills 90210 tackled in their 14 years on the air, from drug addiction to joining a cult, and that's where I was wrapped up. I was wrapped up in that last night. Kelly was in a cult. Brandon and Dylan had to get her out. It was a very complicated issue.
Stop it, Raj. Stop making it sound like that episode of that show you had never seen before and you had to stay up past 2 a.m. to watch it. I know you've seen that multiple times.
I understand that, but I just like the dual hero saving the love of their lives from this evil cult, because we know that can happen. I don't know how many people you've lost to a cult, but it has been known.
So you're saying that the center, your cultural center is the Peach Pit?
Yeah, Nat ran a very healthy establishment. I'm just saying, and I've never had a mega burger, but I'd love one.
All right, so
but no, so
what I had here today. So here's my pen. What I had here today was aliens, congressional hearing. You see what y'all made me do?
You just went Swedish Chef on that.
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly,
no.
Swedish Chef is what I hear coming out of the two of you guys' mouths talking about these two epic shows from the 90s. You might as well, like
See-
Trey, you sound like, and Raj, you sound like.
See, you said epic shows of the '90s. That is correct. That is how they should be addressed. But I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm having a little allergy thing. I need to get some sleep. Got to be up. The dogs have to be up at a certain time, and so I took
Before they poop on your head.
Yeah, yes, that is my fear. But I took the one. It says take 1 to 2, and I've taken 2 before. In the very beginning, when I first got it, it was really, really bad allergies, like skin itching, like eyes watering allergies, like really bad. And I've taken the 2, and that thing, like, yeah, that's like, if you want to feel like butter, like if you want to feel like butter melting, that's what the 2 will do to you. Like
Did Aaron Spelling ever throw in a storyline for an episode of 90210 about prescription strength antihistamines, or was that subject too taboo for that age group, and instead shifted that from the 90210 writer room into the Melrose Place writer room because they felt like the older adults who lived in this apartment complex around the pool could handle it better?
I feel like you did not watch the 3-episode arc where David, who was on late night radio, got hooked on crystal meth. So they went straight to meth, and not even prescription antihistamines. And then he was taken down. He took codeine as a downer, which he stole from his dad, who's a dentist. And they lost his little half sister in the park, and then she went missing, and it was a whole ordeal. And it got Dave to clean up his act.
And this was a 3-episode arc on 90210.
3 to 4 episode arc. Yep.
Okay, but this was if this was David that had a job. So David was the youngest of the pack of the 90210 kids.
He was.
So if he had a job, this means that this was at least the college years, if not what
he was doing overnight.
90210. We have jobs now.
He was doing overnight radio at CU, California University.
So it was the college years.
Go Condors. And he also had class, and he couldn't keep his eyes open. And his programming director was like, "Hey, I got you," and gave him crystal meth, and that's what got him strung out. But
most people don't realize this, but that also that's the exact thing that happened at 97.1 The Eagle. That's why the station folded. We all got hooked on that. iHeart found out, and they're like, "No, we can't have this. Sorry, just can't have it.
And then
Far too entertaining."
They're like, "You're going to have to do a podcast now."
Mm-hmm. You want to do crystal meth? You're going to have to do it on your own dime. Sorry, guys.
You're going to have a 3-camera shoot if you're going to want to do crystal meth, but not here, sir. Not on this gem of a station.
They knew it was bad when Don Davis started moving at normal speed.
He seems even keeled. He's on something. So I took the 1, and I was like, "Oh, this is good." About 3:00 in the morning, about an hour in, I was like, "You know what? My nose isn't running, my eyes aren't watering. I think I'm good." And I closed my eyes, and I woke up to. I have 2 dogs, and I woke up to the oldest one just looking at me like, "What the hell, dude?" Like he thought, like the look on his face was like, "I'm saving a life today." Because I don't know if he thought,
or the look on his face was, "How long do I wait before I eat him?"
Yes. And he just and I looked at him and I go, "I'm so sorry." He just kind of wandered off and just sat and looked at me like, "Put your shoes on. I've got stuff to do." So that's when I looked at the time, and it was 10:30, and I was like, "Oop, I was supposed to be on here 15 minutes ago." So my apologies to the both of you if you were sitting around waiting and had to talk to each other more than you normally do.
That's okay. Trey and I have plenty of stuff to catch up on. But I will say this, since I've now tossed my alien notes to the side for at least this segment, I knew already, Raj, that you were a 90210 fiend. I've known that since our CBS radio days. So I knew that. I know that about you, and I don't hold it against you.
Thank you.
I judge you.
Yeah, that's good.
But I'm not holding it against you. But now that you've brought this up, I'm now aware of something about Trey that I was unaware of until 5 minutes ago. And keep in mind, Raj, you and I have known each other for what? Since 2004 or 5,
Yeah, 4.
somewhere in that range.
2004, I believe.
So that'll make that
19 years.
Is it really?
Well, next year's 24 and then 20.
Oh my God. Anyway, so you and I, Raj, have known each other 19 years.
Mhm.
I've known Trey longer than that
Yes.
because I first met Trey back in 2002.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
that means Trey and I have known each other for 21 years. So that means
We can legally drink.
yes, our Trey and I's memories together are now legally able to drink. But that also means in 21 years that I have known Trey, he has managed to keep this deep, dark secret buried
Mm-hmm.
where I could never know it until just now. And that is that Trey loves Melrose Place.
I mean, 2 words: Amy Locane.
2 words. What?
The hot blonde on the first season.
Hang on, I'm gonna have to look her up. I don't remember.
Make sure
the
you
name
don't
sounds familiar, but I
make
can't
sure
picture
you
her
don't
face.
look at any images later on in life after she was drug addicted, and I think she died. But that first year.
All right, so don't do Amy Locane funeral photos.
Yeah, no.
How do
do
I
Amy
spell her?
Locane? Locain, I believe.
Let's see, Amy Locane. Okay, let's see.
Melrose Place.
Yeah, let me add Melrose Place onto that. Melrose Place.
Oh yeah,
She's in Amy Locane Melrose Lace, but
and if not, you can just go Andrew Shue.
Yeah,
that was a hot man.
Hot sister.
She's still alive.
Hang on, make sure I got this the right one. Was this Amy Locane right there, Trey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. That she actually got me to watch Melrose Place.
Yes,
I remember her. Like I said, I didn't remember her name, but I remember that face, and oh my God.
And she was in a bikini in the opening credits,
like
on the pool thing, and she'd turn her head. Yes, that alone. I mean, Heather Locklear wasn't bad either, but Amy Locane.
Heather Locklear was amazing, but she didn't come until later episodes, or did she start on the show?
I think she started on the show.
Okay, well, I don't know. See, you see how closely I watched the show, which was I didn't.
That's all. I mean, Melrose Place. So 90210 was high school years, and it still went on into my college years. But then Melrose Place started, I think, right about when I was going to college, and so it seemed like it was the more grown up version.
Yeah, because you felt mature if you were doing that.
Yeah, see, 90210 for me, like they graduated high school the same year I graduated high school. They went into, so their timeline followed mine fairly well, and so and it was. I just think it was a better. I think Melrose Place. I think you like a little more campy. I think you that would tell me that you liked maybe instead of Dallas, maybe you were more of a Falcon Crest
or a Dynasty,
or Dynasty.
Yeah, or the Carringtons.
That's the Carringtons. That's Dynasty. Yeah,
I know. I know what it is.
So that tells me that's what you like. That's what Trey likes is the camp. You like the high.
90210 was campy.
No, it was
Melrose Place was sexy.
Oh, it
was the more adult version.
They just all lived in an apartment complex.
But they weren't living with their parents, and there was sex involved. I mean, everything. Melrose Place got to the core of what adult life is like. You're trying to get laid.
That's all of 90210.
No, but you still have you have the high school storylines and everything else. Melrose Place was just more, sexy.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, we will agree to disagree. I mean, I will say the later years brought the girl from Charles in Charge. She was on it. Not the one that was like this. That was supposed to be the hot one on the show.
Not Nicole Eggert.
Not Nicole Eggert. The other one.
The other one that turned out really hot.
Oh my! I didn't even realize it was her. And I was like, why does she look? And then I saw the name, and I was like, oh my God! I mean, wow, what a 180 from what and I'm sure that Charles in Charge had her like play it down, had to have she had to be like the nerdy sister to Nicole Eggert.
Well, no, I don't think she. So she was a late bloomer, if I remember correctly, because she didn't. What was her name?
I can't remember it.
I just typed in Charles in Charge on an image search, and on most of what I'm getting is Scott Baio pulling on suspenders, and that's not what I want. girls. Let me type that in.
Just Charles in
Josie
Charge
Davis.
cast.
Josie Davis. Yeah. Okay. So here's a photo of Josie Davis, right? So this is what she looked like on Charles in Charge. Okay.
Yes.
So she, compared to Nicole Eggert.
Yeah, who they kind of glammed up and dolled up for the show.
Well, they didn't have to do it very, very hard because she was. I mean, it's not even fair. It's not a fair comparison. One was hotter than the other, and that was what kind of the role that they both played on the show. You had the hot daughter and the smart daughter, right?
Yes.
But then
just type in the same.
What was her name? Trey Jody what?
Josie Davis.
Josie Davis. So then Josie Davis got a little bit older, was a late bloomer, and then she became hot. Now that was way after the show was on, but you at least, that was just kind of what happened.
Yeah, but look it up when she joins the cast of 90210. Like that's when it was like, what in the hell? What happened? Like I didn't. It took me forever to realize that was her. But yeah, I mean, we had Tiffany Amber Thiessen crossover.
Oh, is this her on 90210? Right there?
Yes.
Yep.
I'm with you. I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah, and then you had the crossover with Tiffany Amber Thiessen. She joined after Saved by the Bell went off the air.
So Tiffany Amber Thiessen is what got me to start watching 90210 again.
See?
Because I was...
Nobody says that about your Melrose Place. No one was like, what got me watching it again? Shoe.
It's because they just had the hot people. And yeah, I bet Andrew Shue did.
No, nobody cared about him. Whatever happened? Tell me what happened to the people from 90210 from Melrose Place after.
Heather Locklear stayed as Heather Locklear, so she was fine.
So Richie Sambora in rehab, and Sambora.
You also had Courtney Thorne Smith.
She didn't really remember correctly. Much.
Wasn't she on 902? I mean, Melrose Place?
Yep. Yeah, but she didn't do much afterwards.
Well, she was on, I think, Revenge of the Nerds 3 before that.
Well. So I see Hollywood came a-calling.
Yeah, I did. But then after that, she had the privilege of playing Jim Belushi's wife on According to Jim.
Oh, that's right. That is right. She did. She had her sitcom, which I'm sure was the deal with the devil that was made.
Once again, I'm just stunned that Trey was. I had no idea Trey was a Melrose Place.
But also, side note, because I was a Jason Priestley fan. Side note: if you ever get a chance to watch Call Me Fitz, which is Jason Priestley's show, I think it lasted like 2 or 3 seasons. It's brilliant. It's a 180. It's like he's in the 90210 era, like he was this goody two shoes guy, and he was like the Boy Scout. In this, he's a used car salesman, like a used car dealership owner, and he's just addicted to drugs and alcohol, and he's strippers.
So was this sort of an autobiographical thing of post 90210 years? Like,
well, no, he was. I mean, he was supposed to be the good
90210, the unemployed years.
He was supposed to be the good kid, right, on the show, and Luke Perry was the bad boy, whatever. And it was exactly the opposite. Like Jason Priestley in like 1990, like slammed his Porsche into a telephone pole on Sunset, and Luke Perry lived on a ranch in Iowa. It was complete opposites. But Call Me Fitz is like this great. It was I think it was a Canadian show, but you'll love it. So check that out. But I took my antihistamine. I woke up. Walked the dogs, and they were very mad. I will say that. The youngest does not know to be mad at me because I saved him from a life of living in Denison. So
that's a lifetime of appreciation right there.
Yeah, and so he's like, you know what, I could be in Denison somewhere. And so
maybe the old dog was mad because you turned the TV off, and he was really interested to see what happened with the cult.
Yeah, I mean, I turned it back on this morning, so he's catching up. They're catching up right now. I know where it goes, and it's good. It is a good. Everybody is in a good place.
I just like that we are all from the generation that started with that controversial episode of Saved by the Bell when Jesse got hooked on the caffeine pills.
Yes,
and we were able to incrementally graduate,
which I think was an Aaron spell. Like something had to have happened in his family because it happens on the early years of 90210, where they're all trying to diet, I guess, for prom or whatever. And Tori Spelling gets hooked on Dexatrim, If you guys
Yeah,
remember.
I remember Dexatrim. My grandmother lived on that stuff.
Yeah, it was just speed. Like that's all it was. And she gets hooked and she passes out at prom. Or something happens and I think she passes out at prom or she gets whatever. And
that's also makes you wonder, was that a chicken and the egg type scenario? Because like Tori Spelling, I'm pretty sure, it's like Aaron Spelling, Tori Spelling. He may have just been lifting stories from his own household. Like Tori Spelling, like did she have the eating disorder or the Dexatrim addiction before doing the show and that's how it got on the show? Or did she develop it after doing it on the show and was like, hey, that seems like a good idea, short of the passing out?
I'm sure we can ask her. I'm sure if we just sent an email out, she'll respond. She's not doing a whole lot these days.
Well, and if she's still on Dexatrim, she's going to be awake.
Well, I believe Tori Spelling had a sibling that was a brother that was a total screw up. So that
he was on the show. He played Steve's brother.
See, that's not exclusive to Hollywood families. I think every family's got the screw up sibling.
But that was also a running theme of 80s, especially 80s shows that had anything to do with children. There was always the drug episode. That was like a staple. I mean, I remember Different Strokes with Nancy Reagan coming on and, telling Arnold, just say no.
Yeah, she should have directed that comment to Todd Bridges.
Or Dana Plato.
Yeah. The two people she didn't tell about say no to drugs.
Hey, Nancy, read the room. Those are the wrong buttons. Damn it. There we go.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com. You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. Their phone number, 833-COOK-DFW. The website, cookdfw.com. Call them now or go to their website. Schedule yourself that free roof inspection to see if your roof is ready for the next storm that you know is going to come. cookdfw.com. 833-COOK-DFW. I forgot I threw my alien notes over here. Give me a second. My notepad went farther than I expected it to. All right. So did either one of you watch the congressional hearing?
I did.
The other day Raj, you said you did?
I did.
You watch it?
I didn't C-SPAN it, but I did. I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I don't know if I've ever intentionally watched C-SPAN for more than 5 minutes. It's happened accidentally a couple of times. But like most things that happen in government, I just watch it in minute clips on social media.
Yeah, C-SPAN's logo should be C-SPAN. You've lost the remote, haven't you?
Don't forget to set your sleep timer. Channel to go night too. So anyway, the other day they have the is it Gorsh? I think his name was. Yes. So it's the guy that did this News Nation interview like a couple of months ago. We actually played some of it on the show because he's talking about aliens and how the fact that all this alien stuff has been happening. All these videos, from U.S. jets have been released of all these encounters with UFOs, or now what they refer to as UAPs.
Yes.
Yeah. Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
And he does this sort of a whistleblower interview on News Nation talking about how, yes, there are aliens. They've been here for years. They've been coming here for years. We have their ships, and we may even have some bodies lying around. And then people started digging into his past, and finding that this guy is super credible. And not only is he credible, but there's people across the government spectrum that are saying this guy's qualifications and credibility are beyond reproach. Mm-hmm. So basically, he's the most qualified whistleblower in the history of our country.
Yes.
And there's really not that much of attention being brought to the whole alien thing. It's more of just like a punchline on social media or a podcast. Because we're so distracted about what's happening in a small town or something else that we can't be bothered to really listen about there might be aliens here.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Raj, go ahead.
No, I mean, let's dive deeper into my conspiracy theories.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they've been. I mean, look up Valiant Thor. Just look up that name, Valiant Thor. Was an alien that was in the White House in the 50s and 60s. He was. There was a group. I believe it was called the Secret Six or the Secret Nine, something like that. But it was a whole intelligence committee, like subcommittee, where they would. It was basically the whole thing was about covering up alien interactions and alien. What's the word I'm looking for? Alien
cover-ups, conspiracies.
Like just basically what they were doing here on Earth.
Body snatching.
Yes. No. But yeah. Did you find him?
It's gonna be an interesting afternoon when I go back through my phone and look at my search history during this show.
Josie Davis and Valiant Thor.
Nicole Eggert, Melrose Place, Valiant Thor.
Mm-hmm.
Valiant Thor was supposedly an alien from Venus whose mission, as assigned from the High Council, an intergalactic committee of the most important aliens, that's the High Council. Mm-hmm. An intergalactic committee of the most important aliens?
Yes.
Sounds very snobby.
It does.
Very elitist.
His name is Valiant Thor. He doesn't seem like a generous...
Did we give him that name, or
no? I think he came with it.
Yeah, I have a theory on the aliens that are here, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But I mean, really, like, did he say his name is Valiant Thor?
Correct.
Do you think that Valiant really translates from his Venus language, or is that something he just learned while he was here? And he's like, on Venus they call me Stupid Joe. But since I've moved, I've decided to rebrand.
Crackhead Kevin is now Valiant Thor. But
so anyway, Valiant Thor, whose mission was to get the world to disarm its nuclear weapons in order to save the world as the destruction of the Earth would affect other planets. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I think they're just protecting their investment. They've been here all along.
See, thank you.
I mean, so they're also worried about the rising interest rates, Trey?
Yeah, but we didn't have the Egyptians didn't have the technology to build the pyramids. The aliens helped.
They did, and there's a temple in India that's all granite, and it's like literally like laser cut. And they didn't have the technology nor the tools. It was discovered by in English, I think it was a viceroy or something to that effect, where he was on a hike or a horse ride with his family, and he just like stumbled upon this temple. And when they uncovered it, it was like pristine, and it was like these cuts that couldn't have been made with tools at that time. So I'm just saying they've
so
kind of
would
been
that
around.
sort of mean that if Venus were was the home planet of the visiting aliens to Earth, and then they decided to help us make things, would that mean Earth is sort of like the Section 8 housing to Venus? Is Earth like Venus's trailer park?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Venus is like Harvard, and Earth
we're the asylum.
Yeah. Like Venus is Harvard, and the Earth is like where I went to school. It's like Southwest Texas State. It's like that's what it is. I mean, like they're like, here's how you build pyramids, and we're like, thanks for doing it. We can't figure it out ourselves. But I mean, if you want clues and context, if you remember the song "The Final Countdown" by Europe,
love that song.
When they're leaving, what planet are they leaving for? They're headed to Venus. See, it's in the song. The aliens told them to write. They're like, hey, give them clues.
Does that mean The Final Countdown isn't just a classic pop smash or a cult favorite? But it's does that make it an alien anthem?
It is the alien anthem. It is Europe is like first of all, I didn't know Swedish rock wasn't that big back in the day, and they had a knockout song that still runs today.
ABBA would like a word with you.
Okay, disco is a different. Like that's when the aliens stopped visiting for a minute and disco snuck in.
Are you sure, or is that just like a different tribe of aliens that snuck in for a bit?
I don't know where this conversation. This now it's bordering on asinine.
What bordering? We've been in it for 8 minutes, Raj.
And for the first 7, it was brilliant. And then he had to bring ABBA into this. ABBA's like the junkie cousin that lives in your
ABBA.
your house.
There are two universal truths. Everyone loves ABBA and boobs.
I like one of those things, and boobs wins. ABBA.
Everyone likes boobs and ABBA.
Like I just like in my head now when we end this podcast,
who doesn't hear Dancing Queen and just smile?
I don't know. Like,
see,
now
I mentioned Dancing Queen and you smile.
No, you mentioning Dancing Queen makes me giggle. Like, because in my head, here's how it works: as we end this podcast, and your room that we can see behind you, that fan goes back up to the ceiling, and a disco ball comes out, and then ABBA starts playing, and that just makes you feel joy. like that's. Do you have roller skates? Do you put skates on and like skate around your place, listening to Dancing Queen? Like, that's adorable.
I do that to take a chance on me.
You know what? Once again, you two just throw away everything I had planned for today.
Which was Take a Chance on Me was a better cover by Erasure, by the way. Just FYI.
A cover.
Yeah,
they didn't do it originally.
Yeah, I said it was a better cover by Erasure. It was done better. There was more flair. There was more flair.
Is this where the second fight happens of the show?
Yeah, but so going back, like you've thrown your notes away, but going back to, I watched the hearing was actually I know it was meant to be serious, and they had
like this segment, it was meant to not necessarily be serious, but to talk about the very strong likelihood that aliens are not only real, but they're already here and among us.
Yes.
And one of them might be Mitch McConnell based on how he looked at the podium the other day. But
yeah, that was a mini stroke.
Instead, we're discussing the finer points of ABBA.
That's because, aliens, there might have been 4 of them in Gold LeMay that just had great rhythm, and they pumped out the hits.
See, now, Trey's an alien.
You're listening to The Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in The Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of The Treehouse is brought to you by Brooks Plumbing. Their phone number, 214-368-3838. That's 214-368-3838. For any and all of your plumbing needs, it's Brooks Plumbing. Their website, brooksplumbingtexas.com. So in that congressional hearing the other day, man, we are so far down this rabbit hole, I don't know if we're ever going to see the light of day again. But in that congressional hearing the other day, the guy that's sort of the whistleblower, I forget from what department he is. He's actually operating, I think, under some whistleblower protections. And so he did this News Nation interview a couple of months ago saying, yes, they're aliens. They've been here for years. We have spacecraft. We have wreckage. We have bodies and things. Then they decide, okay, we need to get this guy in front of Congress because that's supposed to help for some reason. Anyway.
Credibility.
Yes. So this guy is super credible. Everyone in the government that knows him is like, yeah, this guy's great. We love him. Invite him to our kids' parties. And we also listen to what he says about anything classified.
Mm-hmm.
So here he is the other day in front of Congress, talking to our elected officials about the aliens. And keep in mind, this is probably the highest rated episode ever on C-SPAN or whatever. But But this is what's been going on kind of underneath the surface of all of our other headlines in the world right now. And I don't think there's enough attention being showed to it. So here's the Gorsh guy talking about, yeah, we got aliens and stuff.
Intelligent extraterrestrials.
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or even in a private setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding, what programs are happening, and what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals that were in those.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to provide that to you after the hearing.
Super. Thank you. And I yield back.
God damn.
That was so gangster.
So do you have these? Oh yeah, I got them right here. You want to see? I'm surprised you didn't just pull the list out and just hand it to her. Here you go. You want me to airdrop it to you? I'll send it to you right now.
Yeah. That was
and if you're curious, like I was, the skiff where they were talking about how I didn't know what a skiff was until just probably a couple of years ago. But the skiff is a sensitive, compartmented information facility. Basically, it's where all of our elected leaders are supposed to basically go into an airtight room where there's no smoking and there's no phone usage, and they can't tell secrets to other people. It just stays in that room.
The cone of silence.
Yeah, they would really help if they just called it what it is, and that is the cone of silence. Thank you. Thank you. Get smart. We don't want chaos.
Yes.
We don't want chaos getting their hands on this very sensitive information.
Yes. And now comes Trey with a rebuttal about how Get Smart wasn't great, and there was some other show with Dick Van Dyke who had a talking robot. I don't know what show you're going to compare to, but Get Smart, one of the best. He had a shoe phone.
That was awesome. I still
Dick
want a shoe
Van Dyke
phone.
was not in Get Smart.
No, since the two of you have been battling over TV shows.
Yeah.
I just thought
Trey's been hit in the head by shoes less than he's used as
Belt rears its ugly head.
Well, because Belt had friends, and Belt's best friend was Shoe.
Yeah.
Belt and other Belt. Anyway,
but both Belt and Shoe were afraid of Boot.
Yes, and again, going back to the thing, I think not the secret. I think it was like the Magnificent 12. I think is what it was called, and I think it was under Eisenhower, if I'm correct. I'd have to look it up, but it is that. It is all of the like agencies and sub agencies and all the people that were involved in maintaining the secrecy of the aliens that are here and the craft that went down in Roswell and the bodies recovered, and them using reverse engineering to create the technology that landed. So there is a theory as well that they were successful in reverse engineering the craft that came down, and that's what they've been building on. So when you see these crafts that are flying, these UAPs now, a lot of it is alien and a lot of it is U.S. military.
Supposedly,
allegedly. I don't know which word is better, but yeah. So it's so arrogant, and I've always said this. I've said this since I was a kid. It's very arrogant to assume we're the only people in the entire solar system, in the entire galaxy. We're the only people, really? Like that doesn't even make sense. So, I don't know about the whole. I don't know about the telepathy and the this and that, but I think there are people that are like, hey, you guys are like the remedial, like we're the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
and everybody else is like St. Elmo's Fire. They're still partying, but they're at Ivy League. And we're like,
you
well,
mean the aliens?
the aliens are like getting stoned, like, let's show you how to stack like that. Like the pyramids was just their Jenga. It's like they just got stoned and like watch.
It was
this
their game night. We got to go to Earth. So like us going to main event is the same thing as aliens coming to Earth. We're gonna run around. We're gonna or like going to Barcadia. We're gonna go to Earth. We're gonna have some drinks. We're gonna play some really oversized Connect 4 and Jenga. And then when everything falls down, we're just gonna go home and just leave the mess behind.
Yeah, that's
or the one that actually got to put the top on the pyramid. They got like 1,000 tickets, and
I just see a bunch of aliens eating an hour later. It's like, wow, this was worth it.
with a big teddy bear walking back to the spaceship,
and like just hundreds of tickets, and then they go into the little alien gift shop, and then there's the claw machine, and they just pick out a couple of humans to take home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's, and then like looking back, like as they're flying off, like, so what is that? It's like, just call it Stonehenge. I don't know what to call it. That's hilarious. But yeah, I mean,
because actually Stonehenge to us as humans, because we're the idiots that were, I guess, are we offshoots of the aliens in some way, or did they grow us in a lab and stick us on Earth?
It's the other one of the theories is that they came here and with their DNA and existing. So when they say the missing link, how we went from Cro-Magnon to Neanderthal to human, that missing link was that, again, theory. Don't send me weird mail. I'm just telling you what my buddies on Ancient Aliens say.
So then, would that make us? So would that make us then either? So would that make us on Earth then sort of like aliens' garden, or would it make us more like we're like their ant farm in their living room?
No, it's like, have you ever met somebody like so go, what's your background? And like, oh, well, I'm a quarter of this, and everybody goes, and I'm like 1/100th Cherokee, like that's we'd be alien
enough to mention, but not enough to get a scholarship.
That is, not enough to like, we're. I mean, we can show up to Venus, but I don't know if we're getting in.
No, really. My great grandfather's cousins, brothers, uncles, cousins, roommate, twice removed, was from here or came here once.
Just to let you know, Valiant Thor sent me.
He hasn't been cool in a millennia. Get out.
Also a great name for a band and or nightclub. I would go to a bar called Valiant Thor.
Oh, you have to, and then if it's a nightclub, it's called Valiant Thor, and then in the ceiling at some point during the night, there's a big hammer in the ceiling, and then you drop the hammer. That's how you know it's time to party.
So
the other thing I worry about, so the other thing that I worry about then is as humans, because we're the dumb like offshoots of the aliens, possibly.
Yes.
We go around to Stonehenge. We treat it like a tourist attraction. Like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. It's how did this happen? It's a feat of engineering. We don't understand it. When in reality, it was just like our alien overlords' dominoes.
Yeah, and they were like bones and like back to Venus.
And that's why some have fallen down.
Yes. See, now you're on board, Dan, and this is how cults start.
I feel like my eyes have been opened for the first time.
Like one of the crop circle phenomenon. I know they try to disprove it and so on and so forth, but there is one.
So would that then mean like crop circles are basically the alien kids Etch-a-Sketch?
No. Have you ever done donuts in someone's lawn? I know. I know. I've drunkenly done that in college.
So basically, when you all boil it all down, we're just the cousin Eddie for Venus. Yeah, we're just they drive by, we're yelling out, "The shitter's full."
Yeah, and they go again. A reference I don't get.
Oh yeah.
Just think of it this way, Raj. Earth is basically the tenement next to Venus.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Kind of like how Cousin Eddie's RV was a tenement on wheels.
Gotcha. Okay. That now I understand what you're saying.
We're the trailer park of space.
That makes more sense, and that is 100% correct. And
and now I'm starting to think that Spaceballs was more of a documentary. Like I said, I think everyone's eyes have been opened here today. Don't ever underestimate the intellectual prowess of the Treehouse. And whatever you do, don't say anything bad about ABBA or Trey will come after you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've learned a lot today. Valiant Thor, 902.
Have we learned a lot, or did we actually get dumber?
Take a hydroxyzine and you decide for yourself.
Be sure to follow all things Treehouse. TreehouseOnAir.com on social media, at Treehouse On Air. For me, it's at the Dan O'Malley. For Trey, it's at Trey Trenholm or at Trey Trenholm1. For Raj, it's at Comedian Raj.
It's at Comedian Raj. And my special, Greg, has just come out on YouTube. So if you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/at Comedian Raj Sharma, you can watch the special. It's free. It's called Greg. It's fun. It was no big production value. It was just me, a buddy of mine with a camera, a microphone, an audience, and it just turned out really well. So check it out.
Cool.
We'll see you next time in the Treehouse.
See ya.
Unless the government comes for us.